to Sunday School Charting at the Trader's Crib. Today, we talked about a few things. We first discussed the futures chart and how it has just switched from the June 2023 expiration date to the September 2023 expiration date, and how this has left discrepancies in our chart. We discover and discuss ways that we can handle these discrepancies as we continue to trade throughout the week. We also went over a few tickers that we felt had possible entries for the week, and then we wrapped it up with some nice overall market analysis. I hope you all enjoy. Let's get to it. Contract switches, like which one should I?
Yeah. So, okay, so I'll tell you like what I know and how I'm proceeding with things. What I learned from Adam Mancini actually, well, and I think also ICT is basically traders switch over to the next contract once the majority of the volume has shifted over. So as we noticed this past week, TradingView shifted over early to September. Actually, as of today, Thinkorswim has also now switched over to September.
Okay.
And Adam Mancini in one of his like tweets, because I'm reading all these Twitter posts, he is also planning on switching to September contract for tomorrow's trading. So I think it's safe to say we can all migrate over to September now. And I actually did find the website, a website that shows the traded volume of all the different contracts, because it even goes into, I think, December of next year right now. That contract is in existence. And so you can actually see those volumes and stuff. So it's kind of interesting for anybody who likes to nerd out about data. But I think so this past Friday, volume was high on June and a little bit lower on September, but it was still a high volume. And I bet you tomorrow we're going to see September's volume go up high and June is going to probably start to decrease. And then the June contract actually does expire this coming Friday, which I believe, I can't remember. I think it might be a triple witching day or a quad witching day where there's like a whole bunch of things that like expire at the same time. So that always kind of is something.
It's quad witching. Yeah.
Is it a quad witching? Okay, yeah. So that always, I don't know, it always seems to have like some kind of impact on the market in terms of like everyone's trying to dump something, like get rid of something, offload something, so you might see some funny things, but I think this whole week's going to be funny or interesting. So buckle up.
Definitely in for a ride this week. So, yeah, one more housekeeping thing before we get into the charts. This Wednesday, we are expecting the Fed to announce a new interest rate. We will trade the morning for those who have subscribed to the live day trading study group that meets on weekdays, every weekday. But we'll come in the afternoon and also host a free event during the press conference. So I will stream the press conference live so we can all watch it together, and you can see my face, Tandra's face, Maria's face as we like, oh, the candle, did y'all see this? Right? We'll be hyping y'all up, right? So you'll see that. And then you'll be able to watch it, hear Federal Pal, hear the comments for yourself, kind of absorb the information for yourself and figure out how you want to apply that information to your trades. And then you'll see how we're also applying that information to our trades and figure out, where you kind of stand in that. So we will most likely trade that volatility. Most likely the morning session probably be kind of weak. And then because they're just going to hold their breath until the afternoon, it may take off in a certain direction. So we should have a more impulsive morning move to take advantage of, and then kind of chill out until the afternoon. But it just depends. So we're looking forward to that, along with these new contract days. There's just a lot of stuff. I saw even more news on AI, and I'm just kind of like, okay, where are we going here? So, and then I saw some of the traders on Instagram saying some stuff about like we've officially are in a bull market. So I don't know, people gonna say whatever. So just try to keep your minds clear. Let's try to keep your mind clear as much as you can. and take the data for yourself. Okay. So this is a September contract. I do have the continuous up as well. So the continuous has a gap, and I'm not showing that one as much. We can chart it, but I do think this gap is going to be an issue as far as our trading. It will settle at some point. It will like adjust itself, or it does something. But for now, or at least until the futures start, this gap is gonna pose a problem. So I'm gonna focus on just the regular September contract right now, because it looks more like what happened on Friday right now. Price didn't really gap up that way. This is more of the contract change. So we're gonna kind of look at it from this view. And the one thing is, we can't probably do as good as a top-down analysis as we probably could on the continuous. Let me see. To get us started, we want to kind of start the weekly and kind of get an idea. Similar but different. So we have a long wick up here, which would show resistance. But then here, that wick, well, one, we have to finish this candle first. So that may align with the rest of this little upward momentum here. Because of this long wick, I do expect it to be pushed down a little bit at first, and we'll see how much it wants to run up there. But because there's no fair value gap here, these wicks are clearly touching. We don't know how much we have to, like, how high it's going to go in here until we start to dissect it on the smaller time frames. So let's come over. I don't know which one I want to do, y'all. I hate it when the contract change. When I tell you, like, it's really frustrating for the first like week or so. It just is. I like the continuous better, but I don't like that gap. That gap makes me think that things are gonna do things that ain't gonna do. But then you don't have enough data back here. We don't have to see. So I like it for trying to predict the upside, the continuous one, because I need some type of level. I cannot trade with no level. Yeah, no, not happening. All right, so we have no choice. Okay, we're just going to, I don't know how I'm gonna treat that gap yet. Let's just start and we'll kind of go from there. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to look at step one. I had a clean chart. I just put that one line. So clean chart. And I always go for my areas of resistance and then areas of support, because my areas of resistance, I usually have to come further back into the chart, usually like weeks, maybe months, maybe even years at a time, depending on if we're bullish, which we are right now. And when I'm looking for the areas of support, I'll be looking at more recent data. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock this out and zoom all the way back out here and mark this line. I'm marking the top of this very long candle because I believe that price will resist right at this line. So we're gonna make this a dashed line, and we can make it red for the top. Okay. And so somewhere at there, 43.86, y'all may have something around there. My ICT people, if they do a daily this high up. So that's like that's probably where I see price probably banging to in the first few days of next week. Like this is the top. So now looking at the bottom, and we have this gap that's just not doing us any good. I'll probably take it like right at this gap. How do I want to play this? Because price is coming back down, and I'm thinking to place it right like at this wick of this candle that flew up here as a level, and we'll see how that breaks. We can make this one green. And that's the only reason why I'm kind of isolating a candle like that, is because it is kind of gapped up there weirdly, and we just kind of see. Now when we switch to SPY, because SPY is going to give us a more accurate depiction of what happened on Friday. So this is the spot. This looks like a breakaway, but we're not sure yet. So we also we can put a few things together for those of you who've been following us to kind of look at. We're going to just kind of study the pattern as well. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at some tops and some bottoms. All right. But right now, to study the pattern itself, how it came up, and then almost looked like it wanted to continue back up, but closed as an overall doji or pen. The pen, in this case, we could have a pen that's going to break us out of this little consolidation, or we could be faked. So we want to be careful. We need another candle here to figure out which way we're going. Does that make sense? And can the candle come both ways a bit? Yes, because that's what candles do. You have to figure out which side of the move you want to be on. Now let's go back and let's look at some tops. So this is the most recent high from this one. If I mark it so I can mark the top with it because it kind of blew up here, we can see that price pierced through the previous high and into this long, what we like to call bacon candle. Who doesn't like bacon? Y'all need to stop eating bacon. I'm plant-based, but I get how delicious it is. And it's very delicious when it applies to long candles in the stock market that we can get good retracements out of. And yeah, so we call it a bacon candle. We call it bacon.
Can I ask a quick favor? Can you do a fib on that big candle there? Was that a halfway point? It looks like it's the halfway point.
Yeah, we can do a fib on this. We can apply. We're going to start with support and resistance, and then we can apply fib.
Got it. Okay.
So bacon comes from the acronym big ass candle on the chart. Shout out to Sandra. Okay, so like.
Well, you're the one who came up with the big ass candle. I just
because it is just a big ass candle. I didn't think to acronym it into bacon.
Randy, I still have this when you had us trade spot. This is what I wrote down. You said, Tondra, look for big ass candles. That's why I have that, and that's what that because you said that.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
So. All right. So we did break up into it just a bit. And yes, I guess my fair value gap indicator isn't on, is it? I guess not. Fair value gap. Do we have one up here? Yes, we do. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure I see one. I think I added it like 3 times. All right. So because we have a fair value gap between here and here. And because this is the daily, y'all have been rocking with me a while. Also, we say a lot of different things in here. When price kind of leaves, meaning that there's wick in a fair value gap, we say we left the kids at daycare. We gotta go back and get the kids. So we'll usually have it'll be like a signal that price is gonna eventually come back. And then we get in the trade on a retracement and it comes back and we can ride the whole ride. But this is a daily. So we don't know how many days it's going to take to do that. And that's the problem because we can go, oh, we think it's the next day and it's not the next day. It's like 5 days from now or whatever because it's the daily that we see that on. So I marked that area. I marked the top. I know it's in the fair value gap. We can now mark the top of the fair value gap as well as a level because we definitely know when it feels there. And that matches the, I didn't want to alert. I want to change the color. We definitely know that this is going to be, an area of resistance up here. So 436, right, on SPY. And so I'm focusing a lot on SPY because the SPY move is what most of us want to play. So we think that SPY can go up to 436 and we have a pretty good fair value gap run that it can do it now because it's on the daily. We want to be patient and we're going to be patient this week. And we're not going to I'm not doing it. I'm going to wait for the break. So now that I'm coming into a smaller time frame, I'm gonna scale down. So let me actually go back out to the daily. I didn't pick bottoms from the daily. So let's pick daily bottoms. So I'm gonna pick right here the wick of this gap, the actual gap. and start there because it's just obvious. You want to pick the simple stuff that you see first. The main tops that you see, boom, right there. Right? Main top, mark that, see where price hit. The main bottom, mark that, be done. All right, now you got a zone to work in. Now you're gonna come down to 4 hour or 2 hour. We'll start the 4 hour so you guys can get perspective as we scale down. But we have our daily line. We know that we can actually mark another line here as a gap fill. Okay. Is this range, as we know, this is a trading range too. Price breaks up this way and breaks up past 431 and continues to 436. That could be a potential trade. This is a smaller trade, but if it did want to reverse down and fill the gap, if you had the right momentum and volume, you could see and potentially get in before it breaks, depending on the patterns that show up here that give you the know that it's going to push and do it. And you could potentially capitalize more on this trade. But if you're a conservative trader, and this gap is probably going to be small, because I probably should put it here to the wick, because this is the end of the fair value gap. You see, as it's only $1. And if it does press in here a little bit more, which it can do, just know that it could be short-lived. We have a wick here, and it could just press down for a moment and then bounce right back up. It may not actually come to close this candle. I'm on the 4 hour, especially with this fair value gap. So it could be into actual gap. So things when meaning you have a fair value gap, meaning like a price volume imbalance, but then or price imbalance, but then on top of that, an actual gap, which is the volume imbalance. And with both of those sitting right here, we're most likely going to get a bounce off of this. And the only way we're not going to get a bounce is if momentum and volume and the market's just plummeting through and give us that conviction that it's not going to bounce off the gap. It's just going to take it right through. But we want to wait on other technical analysis indicators to align with that, because if that force isn't there, then it's going to bounce. So we'll continue to scale down as we look at our pattern. We see that it bounced off the top here and it failed to get back up to the top. And now we are continuing down, or it looks like it until it doesn't, right? So right now I'm coming down to the 30-minute. As you can see how the candles are aligning with just my support and resistance, right? And what it looks like and how it's coming down and around. Or looks like it's maybe coming down and around. At the end of the day, price needs to, so now that I'm at the 30-minute, I'm looking for levels that price really needs to break further down in order for me to be able to capitalize on this, because there's a lot of room from current price to get down here if I wanted to trade. Say that I do think price is going to come down. This is a long way down, and how do I know it's going to do that? Especially when price hasn't even revisited this line based on the data that I see. Price is all up here. So because price is all up here, I'm going to take the lowest low in this consolidation area and mark it. And I'm going to say, okay, I need this area to break before I'm able to execute a trade. And, I would want to execute from this break on down to the gap, because that's a more likely trade, because it's definitely most likely going to bounce off the gap. And you're only talking about $1, and that's not really worth it. $2 is worth it. $1, not so much, because it could be really short-lived. So the upward move is definitely our more profitable move in this particular setup of just plotting our support and resistance. All right. Now, Tandra wants Fibonacci. Let's add another level of support and resistance so we can further see.
Before you fib that, right there, you don't think that little buy zone that it's bouncing off of is going to keep pushing it up? You see that little buy zone within that?
This one?
Yeah.
When she's saying buy zone, y'all, she's talking about right here.
Yep.
And because this is another dip. So we're looking for smaller dips within dips. And so we did our daily ones, that's our thick lines, and now we're in a smaller time frame, kind of seeing how price is being supported and where it's going. So this is what I mean when I say dissect it. And so this is what we want to set up our day trades. So I believe, so the way Tandra's seeing it, Tandra is like, well, even though price has came up here, made a tweezer top, well, is it? Yeah, it is. It's a matching top. These two matching, that's a reversal pattern. So we did come down. but we came down, we have a gap. So the gap filled. This is a smaller time frame gap. So that's another reason why if most gaps found on a smaller time frame are most likely going to fill within that smaller time frame. Gaps on a bigger time frame may take multiple of that bigger time frame. So if it's on a daily, it can take multiple days to fill the gap. All right, so we filled it immediately because it's a 30-minute here. And we formed another, not just, and I remember I told you guys this before, and it's on the 30 minutes, so this is nice. So the fact that Tandra brought this up, she may be right, and I'm going to confirm with her that she's saying, is this buy zone going to hold it? I would say we may have it. There's a higher probability that it will hold it. And the reason why I say that is because I'm looking at these 4 candles total, but I'm really focused on the 2 bottom ones. Let's zoom in here. I like the fact that the bodies of the bottoms match as well as the wicks. That is a very strong sign that price does not want to break down to the bottom. Very strong. I've seen this pattern hold up on a 5-minute, so I'm pretty damn confident it may hold on a 30-minute. Okay, this is applying candlestick patterns. So you got to put support and resistance and reading the candlestick patterns themselves to understand what's going on. So we're on the 30-minute and we spotted this, which is a bullish reversal at this point. Price came up. Price rejected because of this wick here and this small fill. Price came up and filled. There was a fair value gap here. Okay, so price came up and filled this fair value gap perfectly. Then turned around. And if this holds as a true bullish and the bulls are in control, then price should bounce here and we should come up. If it wants to really be bullish, we'll probably end up with a catty-wop W situation. All right, y'all know how I get. Let's do it. Let's draw. Let's use trend lines. We get a catty-wop W situation, some consolidation, and then y'all like this, right? To the moon. Does that that's the bullish move you want to see, right?
Yep, that's what we want right there. That right there. That's it. That's what we want. That right there.
So we're going to, this pattern does look good. I love the fact that, we're not just looking at it like, oh, okay, we see prices possibly turning, we just want to wait for it to break. We're also identifying other signals that the chart is giving us. This is also not, the body doesn't come up. So we have matching low, tweezer bottom. It doesn't align with any of the Haramnis or engulfings, does it? No, it doesn't. I guess it kind of could be bullish engulfing. I guess this one.
I was about to say bullish engulfing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say that looks, I would go with bullish engulfing.
My overnight sessions are not on, Kim. Welcome, Kim. You missed our little affirmation powwow. Kim, I have to come for you too. I'm coming to Atlanta because I got family in Atlanta. See you. So I like this actually. This looks like really promising that it will. I want to see. I'm gonna lead this line. If SPY does this exact thing, your girl.
Start calling you the Oracle.
But for real, I was just about to say, like some astrology type. See the stars, mapping it out. There's a North Star going that way.
You should be called the Oracle. Yeah.
So, because we've seen this so many times. Like the chart makes so many W. Look, I mean, come on. There's W's here, they're everywhere. So come on, like this is highly probable situation.
Yeah.
If we have bullish confluence, if we want to start off bullish to then end the week bearish because of how, I don't know. Like we're not expecting a really big hike, so I don't know how much drop he's gonna drop, because the last drop was just like a really big drop for that day, but it wasn't like a drop to the market. Y'all remember that? The last
I agree. Yeah,
high?
it dropped and then it turned around like never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just gonna be a red day Wednesday and we can like more think that versus like the market is gonna turn around on Wednesday. I don't know. I don't know yet. We gotta see. Time will tell. All right. So that's what this is. This is what time? I was on 30 minutes. So this is a 30-minute settle, which is not bad because a 2-hour doesn't really give us the same. I mean, now here's it. Okay, check this. Let's take this. I'm gonna redraw y'all it tonight because that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Don't get too fixated on what I draw and then try to do something different and you hold on to a position you shouldn't be holding on to. All right. So the 2-hour, because I always say my setup is on 2-hour. Follow my trading plan. If the 2-hour don't look bullish, then I don't know what does.
Oh, that is very, look at that W. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Wonky, but it's a W.
it's a W. All right. It broke the previous highs of all the previous highs of the W came up. It did get rejected right here, but this does not necessarily mean anything just yet because we also have a really good rejection from the bottom right after that. Rejection from the top, rejection from the bottom. Now it's going to do a squeeze. When you see a situation like this, best believe it's probably squeezing, and then it's gonna break. So now we just needed to figure out, are we breaking up or are we breaking down? Because this W can fail. I don't want to rule out the probability that the W can fail. All right. Do we beat up SPY enough? Y'all got it? Oh, we got to do a fib on it. But y'all see
even if you don't want to, I can fib it, but yeah, fib
no,
that.
We're gonna do a fib for that.
Oh, that bacon candle.
So you want to fib from back here. That's not how that's gonna work. Wait.
No, it's not gonna work. I just wanted to see what the bacon candle fib was gonna be like. Can we fib the bacon candle and kind of get some sort of idea how far it may go up? Or what are you thinking? What is your analysis of the bacon candle?
So let's take from the 2-hour. So we have our support and resistance that we charted just from the candlestick pattern. And look at where it lined up too. Like how about the W being right in between where we put our lines? Like this is spot on charting. Okay. This is what you want. All right. And where did I take that from? The 30-minute? Yeah, I did. From the bottom of these two. I was actually on the 30-minute and then took the bottom here. And then on the 2-hour, it's like perfectly within that W.
Yeah.
All right. So the way we're going to fib this, I don't want to put too many lines on the chart because fib's going to put a whole bunch of lines. So let's see how. Let me try it first.
So just the high and low of Friday's, yeah, trading.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the W basically. So I'm going from this is going to be my swing low at the base of this gap or at the wick of this gap to the wick that peers right up and potentially left the kid. And this may apply for us. It may lead the kids to the point where they can come back for sooner than later, maybe. Fingers crossed on how soon it wants to return. But so if I go from here to here, actually doesn't look too bad against. Look how my dotted yellow line lines up right with the 38 Fibonacci. That's the reason why I didn't want to delete my lines yet, because a lot of times you can draw, if you draw your support and resistance right, Fibonacci should line up with most of it. And this is what Tandra's trying to see, because from here she knows that I have the 0 to 100, 0 to 100. All right, and every line in here is between that value. I have that from my swing low to the swing high. Okay, but then I also have levels as I zoom out that are projection levels that go beyond 0 and beyond 100%. All right. So she wants to know, based on that bacon candle, where does our -50 come up? And that's and it's not far. So the top of the bacon I marked as the top of the daily. This was the close of the daily fair value gap on that bacon candle was here. My dotted line, 436. The 50%. The -50% Fibonacci comes in at 436.11. So we're talking about a few cents. So the goal is still 436. All right.
Okay. Yep.
So if we break up into this area, we can most likely, you know, take it to 436. Now I want to come down to, we're on a 2 hour. I want to come in between this zone now and see the bacon candle and see what's in it, meaning what other breaks are in it. What else is going to chop up price? So this is where, in efforts to not clutter the chart too much, I may, you know, I know this is a daily high. I mean, a daily high, the most previous daily high, and this is the next one. I may move this now that I came down to my 2 hour, most likely move this line to match this candle up here. So I know that, okay, you're probably going to run up here first because it's on a 2 hour, on a daily move. You're going to run up to 432. You're going to bounce, and then you're going to come up and take me to 436. I don't want to be like, oh, you're in 4, what the hell? I'm getting a retracement. Oh my God, why? Now I know why. Because the candle breaks. That daily candle that's so big and solid is not solid on a 2 hour. It's going to break. So that means this trade is going to take you some time. That means this trade has a likelihood to do something stupid and take all day to fill. Like, that's what that means. Okay. So you can either mark an additional line to mark the top of the base of this candle, and you can make it whatever you want, or you can adjust your other lines. Trader's choice. I'm not about to tell you what to do, but you want to know that between, and you can mark this as a small zone, right? So I've done that. I've done this as like taking the base of the so actually the best way to do it is to take the wicks and the wick, because we know that price is probably going to bounce off of this wick, because that's just the way it goes, and then it's going to come up. And then once it finally pushes through this wick, it's going to come up and it's going to bounce up a little bit here. And if, or unless it has the right momentum behind it and volume and everything's going green, then it'll break up here and then we'll finish the ride out. Thanks,
these wicks, you don't see those 2 wicks there over there to the left. You don't think they're going to affect, they may cause
these
something.
two?
Yeah.
Aha. Look, I see. And then this is what we got to look for. All the bumps in the road. So Tandra's talking here. Will these 2 wicks cause us to delay coming up this candle? Possibly, yes, but I don't think they. I think it may be short-lived, but we'll see. It just depends on the rest of the vibe of the market, how much effect it's gonna have, because it's so kind of far back. And I think we can get to the top of this candle. We just have to wait on it, and then knowing, depending on how the futures is doing, and the fact that there's a gap up here, you know, this is an actual 2-hour physical gap. Volume imbalance to 437, or 430, yeah, 438. So if you know how to rock your contracts right, I would play this minimum 3 contracts, right? If you want, take profit 1 at 433 if you feel scared. All right, let the other 2 rock. Take another profit here at 435, 436. Let the third one rock and see if you can get it to 438.
Yep.
Not a bad idea, right?
Nope, not a bad idea.
So as we're trying to scale into positions, partials always pay. I love it. Maria got the jingle slogan. So we can, I actually like that move as we want to come up to 438, you know, depending on how much the SPY want to move. That's how you would play that. At least 3 contracts. If the market's giving it to you, let the other 2 rock all the way up. And feel good about taking profit at the first 433, because that's the top of this candle, like the wick of it and everything. And they'll most likely do that based on where it is. It just really, we still really do need to wait on a level to kind of clear. I think it's back here, right? Yeah, this 431 to really get up there. But if you want to stick to like, I just want my $2 and be done, then that's your $2, 431 to 433 type of move. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and set alerts for this bullish move. Y'all think y'all feeling green? Y'all feeling bullish? At least for I don't know if I'm gonna trade Monday. Last week just kind of wore me out. I hate that. That's just recovery. Ooh, I don't want to come in on Monday. I want to come in Wednesday.
Monday we don't have much news. We have it says bond auction, 10-year bond auction at 101, and then the federal budget balance. That's a yellow folder at 2:00. But the news starts Tuesday, CPI, Wednesday PPI, and then also Wednesday the Fed fund rate, and then unemployment. So we're not getting news until
Wednesday.
Tuesday. Tuesday CPI. Tuesday CPI.
Well, because it's the Tuesday before the Fed announces, then maybe we have a tradable Tuesday. Other than that, most Tuesdays suck. So just stay out of the market till Wednesday. We'll see what Monday does. But I think we may play some more in this area before we actually get a move. That is definitely probable because I can't trust this pin yet until I see it. On the downward side, it's not as great of a move, so it is playable. Like if it really decides to push down here, we know what levels that we're looking at. So from the Fibonacci price kind of came across, set at the 50%. It's gonna probably, I don't know how that retracement. What did I say? This is gonna hold. So now 32 probably should. We want up. This should hold it. It really should. And then they will have to break through all of this before we get any type of downward. So we'll just have to wait on that. It's closer to the top than it is the bottom. So we just have to wait to see how it goes. All right, y'all. That's SPY. That's like SPY / the futures, right? Depending on what happens. Because the futures and the difference between the contracts right now and that gap, that's why I kind of wanted to really map it out on SPY. Because SPY, you guys actually need these numbers, the SPY numbers, because you're most likely going to play it with the SPY, except for the few futures ladies in the house. So we got the futures cash. Go and get the futures contracts and just play the solid futures for whatever move and go no more than like 5 to 10 hands. I feel like I know ICTP saying it's 5 handles, but every time I look at the move, I'm like, you can always get at least 10. Feel like he's shortchanging. Y'all,
So, what he says is whenever you want to get into a move, you should see the move should, before you decide to get into it, it should at least go 10 handles. And the minimum you should take is 5. That's what he's saying. So the minimum
makes more sense.
But yeah. But he's saying that if you're going to see the setup, the setup should at least be 10 handles before you decide to get it, or it might not be worth your while. So that you can at least get your minimum 5 in, but you should definitely get that 10 for sure. But yeah, he just lets that be like the minimum amount.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like my minimum, like 7 ATR type of thing. So you can only go, so you have to go for, you only need like a $3 move or whatever.
Right.
Outside of the SPY, of course.
Yep.
All right. Y'all good there? We good? Questions? Anything before we keep going into Adobe that's about to fill this gap on the way down? I just need the premiums to be right next week, and then I can make my money. So let's take a look at we're going to start off with our list of tickers that are 7 ATR or higher, kind of focus our attention there. Because I'm not really swing trading. So Adobe is coming down great. Like everything about this looks like it wants to fill the gap down. And Adobe gonna do what it wants to do. So I'm convinced that Adobe wants to fill the gap down. Especially, I think Fatima got in, and I hope she got out. I really do. Because it definitely gave the reversal signal. And that's just the way.
Girl, I did get out.
Fatima, you're here. Yay.
I wrestled that thing all day until I got my money back.
Yeah. I mean,
good.
Congrats.
I got my money back and I made $91 and I said, good riddance.
Yeah.
That was the whole Friday while I'm trying to work. I was like, daggone it.
Well, nice job getting your money back and then getting a little bit off the top.
And
But
then doing that
Adobe is,
work. Congrats for all of it. Like I said,
yeah,
you gotta do
I
it
was,
if you wanna know what it's like or what you're gonna have to do to make this your life, right? Or transition to your new life. So congrats. I'm proud of you.
I sold the, I mean, I got out of call and I bought a put. And I was like up and down all day, all day.
Because it was bad. It didn't go anywhere. It just chopped. So
Until the last like 30 minutes.
yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. I was sitting there shaking until I said, whew, 5 minutes before it was over. I said, all right, I'm done. Man, it did feel good to get out.
I'm proud of you. Like kudos to like recovering, trying to recover, because you all that has to come into practice at some point. So I'm super proud of you
Thank
doing
you.
that, because yeah, there was a risk. You knew that it already moved a lot, so you knew when you entered it was a risk of it was going to come back up more, and it was just kind of stalling there. So just for trusting your gut, knowing to just flip the switch. Like she took, I mean, again, super proud. And she's like, nope, just going for a put. That's how you trade. Go with the market. Let it
I
go.
I
And go.
almost left. I almost left. My put didn't sell it, but I was worried about what's coming up next week.
You did right. I don't think there was anything wrong that you did with that, because even though it does look like it's gonna come down, so I understand why you would want to hold it. You just never know what the bounce may look like or what type of move when things just start out opening, and then you're gonna have to, oh my God, now I gotta wait for it to come all this far. And so it's better to just nope, sit out and then just get back in the when the move actually happened, or when you see which way it goes. It's perfect. Perfect. Cool. I'm so happy for you guys. Oh my goodness. That's lovely. All right. So I do think I'm gonna send an alert pretty much, if it just to be like, let me know to look at it. I didn't start on my daily because this one just has a gap move and I'm just focused on the gap. So that's the only reason why I did not come out, because I don't skip that. I normally do a daily high and low of some sort, resistance, support. But when I see a gap, I just go straight for the gap, especially if it's on my daily, and this one is. So if I came to the daily and marked the daily gap, so it can still follow the rules the same way. But we're gonna just mark the gap. So I have special gap colors that I usually use. Just purple. And so that's the daily gap. Now come down to the 2 hour.
Mommy,
Yes, Jay.
how do you spell here?
HERE.
Uh,
So now it still looks very bearish. We see this line is lining up, like a little bit of the wick did pierce down into it, which again could be our sign that it wants to come down into this, because it left some kids in the fair value gap daycare, and it can do it from different perspectives. So you got to be careful with that methodology that I came up with on leaving the kids. Okay. But I'm coming down to each time frame, and I'm still getting some crossover of this line, which makes me feel good, because that means price closed. Price closed below this low, not the wick exactly, but we're close to it, and it left some below. So it's a potentially good.
This.
You know how to spell this. I'm gonna let you figure that out. So I guess I can, because I know the alert's gonna get triggered like as soon as I said it. And that's kind of where I'm sitting here looking like, where do I put this alert in this particular situation? Because coming down to, okay, so this is a 15-minute. Everything about this looks bearish, y'all. And then the 5-minute looks even more bearish. because you came down, closed below these lows. And even this candle, it almost looked like to me it ran out of time, and you just still want to come down. And in the 3 minute, okay, there's the final turnaround a little bit, but because these bottoms are uneven, I still don't trust it. So Randy, where are you gonna put the alert? Look at it. I guess I'm just gonna have to look at it. I don't, some you want, like usually I want to set the alert a little low so then I know it's crossing because I know when to get in. In this situation, it's just kind of suck. I guess I'm gonna just put the alert on this line that I have and call it a day. Okay. And then I'll be riding it down till it fills the gap because I don't think we're gonna go back in time and look if there's any type of wick discrepancies in this gap that are going to prevent the gap from filling like it's supposed to. So we have this damn thing did a gap on gap play. I can't. Okay, let's see. I want to mark this inner gap in here because there's like 3 of them and it's really.
Yeah, Adobe has a lot of gaps above. What is that on the on the port? Yeah, you can see them on the
it's trying to understand, yeah, because they're within this. So let's see. Let's do a dotted.
I also want you to know that after hours, Adobe pushed up another couple about $2.30. So it closed after hours at 456.30.
So I kind of took the bottom of this wick. I took the tops of these 2 wicks. I took the bottom of this candle. And I'm not sure how it's going to play out. It's just kind of some levels in there because it's choppy. But coming down to 448. Wait. I'm going to take that back because this is a 4-hour time frame. Let's do it like 1 wick. It should probably fall to this base here, like that actually. Okay, so 450. So I bounce at 450 maybe before coming down to 447. So then having to break that level and then continuing down to 442 and then finally closing off the gap if it does that because these wicks may hold it up. And then Towner said it kind of looked like it moved up a bit. So we'll see. Oh, the top side. That's the bottom. The top side has this wick on this candle is ridiculous. So price went all the way up here, guys, like all the way. And this is another long candle, and this is the top of it here. The fair value gap is coming in shorter because of the candle behind it is pretty long as well. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm zoom back here. So this is finishing out this candle. It will have to be all the way up here. I think we finished the fair value gap. Let's go back and take a look. Did we get up to 460? Yeah, we did. So Adobe, I don't know what I want to do with you. I really don't. If anything, no, it's too much of a rejection. I can't say it wants to retrace this wick yet. I can't say that yet. Yeah, no, can't say that yet. So we're just gonna wait on the upside because I don't really have a clear path on where it wants to go. And Adobe has earnings, so it may just surprise us. I don't know what's gonna do. It may pop up here and be at 487. Be like, what in the world, Adobe? What in the world? So
yeah, Adobe's been popping all week. It'll drop and then pop and then go right back to where it was overnight. Like so I guess the warning with Adobe is once it makes this move, go ahead and get out because it may completely reverse on you and go right back to where it was the previous day. So
yeah, you definitely can't hold it.
Nope, can't hold it.
Okay, have a cash account. Don't hold it. All right. Lily, I'm not worried about Lily right now too much either because it looks like it's coming back for its more all-time highs, and I'm not the best at all-time highs. And just kind of leave it for now. Netflix did some pretty decent movement too. I like this little gap up that it did. I'm not convinced that it wants to come down though. So we have this long candles kind of peeking up here. And there's a gap right where it's at. So we have this small gap on the daily. And then the top of the candles up here. So we make this red. And we can do the gaps. Okay. And then we have the bottom. Bottom, I'm filling the gap will be here. All right. So we kind of have this abandoned baby situation at the moment. And I have no idea if price wants to retrace and fill the gap down or continue to run up. Coming down to the 2-hour. This little gap has quite a bit of money in it. So I wouldn't sleep on this gap. If it chooses to do so.
Mommy, I'm hungry.
Okay, yeah.
Chicken. Order.
All right, sorry guys. So we are going to let me see, Netflix. What do I want to do? It will have to come all the way down here though first, and we have some pretty good rejection wicks leaving this line. But if it were to break the 414, you have quite a few dollars in here to make some money. If it really wants to move though, Netflix can really move. You just have to catch it. And that's the hardest thing, catching it. So yeah. I want to say Netflix probably has a move that we could potentially make to look at that on the 4-hour. That looks like a downward move. But we'll see if it wants to turn around or come up. I'll put an alert right here. Try to catch it as it fills the gap down. All right. Lulu has been painstakingly getting on my goddamn nerves. So I'm glad I didn't get back in. I'm glad I called this little area right here on 2-hour. Because that's exactly, it was this chair, how price came down and made like a step. Because that step that made price do that. And it was exhausting before it even got there. And I got out because I was like, you're not doing what I need you to do. And because it's a really big gap, but it's not one to fill it. And so price is kind of coming back up. Wow, like doing a true like reversal damn near in this gap. So I don't think Lulu wants down. I think Lulu may want, I mean, look at that on the daily. Okay, so this is like a true reversal. So we could play Lulu up, but the levels of these short fair value gaps are short to me. And I don't really want it unless it really is going to move. So I'm probably not going to take Lulu until it breaks this level at 365 and come up for the larger candle. And even then, I'm worried about it. I have to come to the daily. I'm going to come to the smaller time frame because see how choppy this candle is. So it's not really a run, but I don't care for it right now. He's either going to turn around and finish his gap or nah. That's kind of how I feel. Like, what are you doing? All right. Chipotle is expensive, but Chipotle is making W's on 2-hour. So I'm not sure where Chipotle wants to be. It's up here in space, like NVIDIA. And it gapped up really high. It should be floating and chilling in space. So it's not really a clear, good move you can do on it. And scalp it quickly, but just be careful. So I've been leaving that one alone. NVIDIA, same thing. I don't know if NVIDIA wants to come back and retrace some of this gap at some point, or if it's just going to keep coming up. I keep studying it on every time frame, and I feel like I'm getting absolutely nowhere right now because it is, again, hovering in space. So if we were to mark NVIDIA's, we can mark the fair value gap for what it is. And as we come down to the 2-hour or smaller time frames, it's just a constant bounce off of this area. It still needs to even come and break this wick, as you can see. So I could even potentially put a line here and say, okay, you need to break that 366 before you can really come down. Because I just don't trust you. And then I definitely don't know if you want to come to the top, because since you ran up here, every attempt you've made to retrace the high, you've fallen short. So I'm not really sure what a video wants to do, because this is a downward trend from this point. This is flat. And I don't know if we have a pennant flag, what the situation is going to pan out to be. But we're basically waiting on a break of those trend lines that I'm taking from the tops here and tracing the bottoms here. And as it squeezes, it should break one of these lines, and we should see it happen as it gets in the squeeze. And we'll see if it's going to be, if at the end of this is, if at the end of the day, if this is actually a like a bull flag pattern, where this gap would be our long pole candle that we don't really see, but we know it's there. And then this being our consolidation flag. And then we break up to the upside with all this AI hype. That's the move. So the break should be up on NVIDIA. All right. So I would love to get in here and do something with it, but until it's finished doing this, I'm not doing anything with NVIDIA right now. And then Pan W that we quickly scalped for a gap. It now looks like it came down and it came right back up. It was like, yeah, no. So it looks like it wants to continue to go up as well. That did like a retracement and it wants to go up. I know this candle was down for the moment, but I'm not too convinced that it wants too much more below this level. So if I were to come here on my daily and mark a low or a support, oops. And then if we were looking for resistance, we would come all the way back in the past. Well, I usually do this first because you gotta come. Oh, that's right there. That it's at all-time highs, so we can't do that. So our high is gonna be up here if it's gonna break anything. It's gonna be the top of this wick. Boop. Like that. And so we're coming down, but I do believe this cradle, this whole formation actually should probably hold price. But we'll see how this long candle wants to play out. Kind of go from there. But I don't have like another really great move because I don't trust this long candle, even though it's here. It's not one I would really trade because it's not really a fair value gap in it. Fair value gap ends up here. And I just got by this same move on SPY. So I learned my, like, literally same. No, it was Adobe. So literally same move with the candlestick being down here and holding too long. Not doing that twice. So I do think price will bounce here. And I think that's the better place to get out of a trade if you're riding it down. or whatever you may do. Okay. Let's switch over to the other watch list and just do a quick skim of some of the other tickers we like in general that we just keep an eye on for like market data, but we may not necessarily trade because they're a little slow right now, and we're just waiting on the news, right? We're waiting on the feds. So AMD is one that has been moving similarly to NVIDIA, but slightly different. I'm not sure if it wants to come down either or do a flag pattern up. And again, this is another one you'll be marking the gaps off, as well as your highs. And we have some previous data back here. So this is our most recent high. So we should mark this one first because it's the most recent from the candle that from Friday, not alert. All right, and then when you're looking for another level, trying to figure out where price is going to go, it's pretty choppy back up in here, AMD. But as you can see, there's like step levels to this shoulders, would you call them? And really should probably look at some fundamentals to know if AMD and NVIDIA want to push up through here, because NVIDIA's at all-time highs, so can't really go off of previous data, but AMD, this is not as solid as you would like it to know that it's going to make a move, but it can definitely still clear this area from the daily. So you can potentially chart like this next top here, because it's slightly above this one. You kind of look, and if you know price is going to it's stalling before your line, and you know why. If you want to move it down, you can. But you're kind of just going to be looking at some of these levels back here in this chart, and that makes it tough to trade. And I just experienced that with SPY last week, trying to figure it out, and it's really, really hard. So I don't know if it's worth you risking, especially in live. So maybe in sim. Apple is doing an upward trend. I'm so mad I didn't buy this stock. So Apple's like upwards towards the all-time high area as well. We'll see if that continues to hold. I don't know what we were looking at, why the whole crib didn't buy Apple, but we was asleep, y'all. I'm just leave it at that. We was just sleep on Apple. It's ridiculous. Crowd, not so much. I feel like I just want to leave crowd alone. It hasn't been moving the way it used to move. It used to move and give nice, like long candles and runs, and it's just not doing any of that. So I haven't been trading it lately. Tesla's been doing a nice hook to the moon type of move, and I think it wants to keep going up. So there is a gap. So let's identify the gap or mark off the gap. And we could mark the bottom, but I'll just mark the close of it. Since the candle, again, we have a band maybe right now. It is until it isn't. So we'll wait till the rest of the candles form. But we definitely potentially have a gap fill down move that has quite a bit of money in it. And then an upward move if it breaks between here and here, that's pretty decent as well on Tesla. So for the Tesla people, it looked like it may want to come down and do the retracement first before coming back up, but it does look like it's overall on an upward trend. So you can take this retracement gap. Actually, this one was kind of fun. If it really comes down and does this. It'll break this wick, and maybe we can write it down. Tesla. Okay, so I got what were the best setups we had so far? Tesla and Netflix outside of SPY. Adobe put, right? Adobe put. What do we got?
Yeah, Adobe, if it keeps coming down, definitely a put. Tesla, you said Tesla, is the
Right.
Tesla coming down or up?
It's an overall upward trend, but it has a retracement downward gap fill.
Got
Does that make sense?
it. Mhm.
So
I guess if anyone's gonna take these trades too, we might want to look at like I said, making those small moves.
yeah,
Because just especially if it turns on you, just kind of do a quick small move, get you some money. Yeah.
Tesla Gap. I think I did Netflix. Which was it? This one doesn't have it right. Was it Netflix? Netflix has a gap, but it gotta come $6 before we know it's gonna do that. So maybe a Netflix gap. That one feels more maybe, but it's a put gap. So put gap. It's put gap. Some post a recap for y'all. Adobe put definitely. NVIDIA, if you want to just write an alert for yourself or like a note, NVIDIA, we're thinking is overall bullish. And it's just doing a hell of a consolidation retracement move at the moment. And
But
then
in the AMD is cheaper if you want to do, because it does very similar to NVIDIA. The move is slower, but it's cheaper.
okay. So Tesla put, I like that move. The trade desk. Not so much trade desk. I see this fair value gap. Let's see, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. And I'm not getting fooled twice. I'm seeing this dummy, seeing this teasing me. I don't trust these damn fair value gaps on the daily. Telling you, see what I'm saying? It takes days to do it, and it's already showing you that. So boo you, the trade desk. I see you for what you are. You ain't about to give me no. Amazon looks like it's doing a retracement, but overall going up with tech. Amazon came up and filled this gap. So it has like a fair value. This again a daily now. Daily fair value gap situation over here. But this is also a physical gap as well. Like it may not look like it. Let me zoom in so you can see there's a physical volume imbalance right there. Boom, boom, with a fair value gap in it. So we definitely know price is gonna come to it. And probably because of the rejection of this would come right to here. If it didn't already run up there to 128, let me come back and see. Ooh, came just shy. So let's see what we do if we actually really come up there, because this wick is pretty hefty. So it didn't make it, and it pretty much closed. If you see the top, this is the base. I mean, this is the top of the body of this candle, and it just has a long wick at the top. Price came right there. So I see the retracement before it can come up further. I don't know what this retracement is going to look like. Let me see, come down to the 2 hour. Hold on, go back to the daily. Let's mark this line. All right, so 2 hour. So we have this short little retracement gap that it's going to do. This is a tweezer bottom or a matching low. I'm kind of trying to use these different words because to differentiate between when their wicks are matching versus when the bodies are matching, or both. And then so we have just the bodies matching, the bottom of the bodies matching here. So we'll have to see if this level holds. Because his shoulder is a little lower. So we want to see it is a little lower, but it's not done yet. So do you want to do like a fill this gap and come up and be like a pennant flag squeeze order block situation that moves out. I don't know how it wants to play. So I'll just set an alert here at the bottom. If it comes further enough, then we can take it because this is not enough money. And then if it breaks up to the top, we don't have a higher high. So let's come back out to the daily. We have this one. And then if it comes, once it breaks 128, then it'd probably be in there and maybe do the gap, but still probably get stopped out at either the wick or the top of this candle. It's gonna be one of the two. So that's what, 131. So I don't know how you would know to hold, and the Amazon be moving in ways I don't really like and make you get out when you don't want to get out. So maybe some shares with it. We don't always treat fair value gaps like normal gaps. Like the normal physical gaps, we're gonna put in our head, it has a higher probability of being rejected on its first attempt to it. A fair value gap, okay. I mean, now let me back up. On the daily, you probably can, because the fair value gap on a daily will probably be rejected the same. But on a smaller time frame, no, don't think that way. Okay, on a smaller time frame, they may not always bounce off if you have momentum and volume on your side, right? It may blow through. And we want that sometimes for it to go through. So I hope that makes sense. And then as you see a trade, hopefully that will become more clear on when to see that. All right. All right, Amazon. I don't really have a move for Amazon. Google looks kind of M looking-ish, doesn't it? So you bounced off this order block back here. You're coming down here. So let's see. The top of this candle back here. Oh, I see you didn't make it past the fair value gap. There was one over here. And you didn't make it past that. So now you need to come do. Okay, we have fair value gap. We have an abandoned baby down here. I wonder what you're gonna do. I'm gonna mark you because I'm gonna mark you with this. I don't know what you're gonna do, Mr. Random Abandoned Baby on Google. A little pin down there. So if we come to two, I really don't have a move on Google. I'm just kind of putting lines, just kind of see. But I don't really have a move until it gets out of a zone. And even still, these levels gotta tell me that they don't want to hold before I can go down like I want to come down. LAZR, no. Oh, it's coming down some. Is it finally gonna come down? Or maybe not, because it's pinned here. I think
that looks like a W to me.
Yeah, this overall does. I'm trying to figure out the retracement. Like, oh, now you look like you trying to overall come up. Because you have this big gap up here you're trying to fill. Bosch and Loam with Yesenia coming back up. So she probably repositioned herself to go back long. Durant is back up because I think it wants to just keep climbing. But it did a nice retracement. And it's going to keep going from there. But I don't see a good trade on it. So I don't really have much to chart. Because usually at this point, I can see what daily move there may be. Boston was really cheap. And so you don't have a lot of a movement on it. It's a slow mover. So maybe one to play with shares, especially as it is so cheap. Buy a lot of shares, do a Tiffany strategy, buy a lot of shares, go for like a 30-cent move, and get out and make your money that way. There's more than one way to play the market. All right. So it's 5 minutes to 6. Kind of went over all of the tickers and SPY. We didn't really look at the Dow and the NASDAQ as a whole. We can kind of give an overview right now. The Dow definitely looks like it's like pressing upward and beating up this line. And I don't know how much more it's gonna take before it breaks. I will love, because if the Dow breaks this zone and we can stay up, oh my God, you talking about a bull market. But I don't know. I really don't know. This is a thick zone. Jesus, I hate that.
Also, I see W.
I see the W2.
But I said
The
double
lows
top.
are higher. The lows are higher. So if we analyze this, we got higher lows. We got some W's in here. And we pretty much have like a solid, like almost like a, literally like a wall right here. The price just wants, price just keeps coming to it, but can't seem to break through it. Yeah. Like right here. So at least it's not getting any lower. It's also not getting any higher. So we gotta wait for a break.
Hey, hey, Randy,
Hey,
can you just look at Home Depot?
yeah, we can look at Home Depot.
I'm looking at taking calls on Home Depot. It's on.
Y'all love Home Depot. Y'all know me. I don't love it. Y'all gotta always remind me because I don't love it like y'all love it.
It's that little small moves.
Yeah.
Multiple contracts, small. It's cheap. It's cheap to play.
That's the part. Okay, let's remove all drawings. Let's do Home Depot. To the fans. All right. See these, like, when are you gonna get out of this area? So you did like this dumb W over here, you kind of failed, and then you did this other ugly ass W over here. And it's just the way it looks. And so let's see, we got the gap. All right. We tested the gap, we fell short, and now we tested it up to it finally and came right down. All right. So now, because this is a great situation, who was that Shirley asking about fair value gaps and get regular gaps. All right, so as you can see, the fair value gap picked up this indicator, or the fair value gap indicator picked this up at the fair value gap, as well as we can see it's a physical gap. In this situation, we're going to treat it like a regular gap, and which it has been doing, right? It's been coming up and then rejecting back out of it until it gives us that confirmation break. I think that's the move that most of the ladies are waiting on. It's the gap. Now I ain't gonna lie. I will get into a gap. Play on anything, damn near. If it's a good gap, it's a good gap. So this does have quite a good risk to reward on it. So I definitely would play the gap too when Home Depot chooses to take it. Now looking at the downside of things, I come to the 2 hour to get a kind of better look because there's really not much here. And it'll be like a quick scalp if you were to do something on the downward. But now that I'm looking at the 2 hour on this, it doesn't look that bearish to me. It looks very bullish. So I would stay, it's doing retracements like it's supposed to do, but I don't think it wants to break the bottom. I don't think it wants to break the bottom. We could come down a little further into this block, right? We could come down further into this block, but I do think this block wants to hold the trend. And we'll come back up and now break the top. I don't know how it's going to chop here or whatever, but I don't think we want any more low. I do believe that. It just doesn't feel like it wants to come down. It feels like it needs to come up, but it just needs some right medicine, spice, love, something to do it. Y'all feel the same on that? Similar sentiment?
Yep. I'm looking at calls. I was looking at calls.
Yeah,
I was already looking at calls, yes. So
very bullish.
I'm bullish on it, yeah, because it touched that buy zone and or sat right on top of it and turned around. So that candle, the candle that is making there, that's a turnaround candle.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And then you have this block. It's just like a perfect scenario to retrace, come back up. And then you're in, because it's also with the fair value gap, you did leave kids in a fair value gap. So you need to this is a different situation, but it looks like it's preparing to take this gap. I ain't gonna lie. Like everything about this is like buy the call, wait it out. Buy the call, wait it out. I don't know, 'cause I know the sucker moves slow.
But this is the first time, as you can see, that wick was the first time it kind of
It kind of
tested
really,
that
I
gap
agree.
and came back down. Yeah, so
This is a true test to it. So, you know, let's give it another day or so to eye what it's doing and how the candlesticks look, and maybe we can situate ourselves to enter and see how it does. What it follows the Dow, right? So pay attention to the Dow. And then the NASDAQ, which is just the NASDAQ wants this order block back here. I'm like convinced damn near. Now, is it gonna be choppy? Probably. Would be and there's a long candle. There's usually a long candle in these, which is kind of nice. Ooh, and the fair value gap stops right there. Look at that. And then, which is above this high, which is nice. But then current price is below it. So I wonder if, did we tap up there? Let me see. We
ooh, yeah,
close.
look at that. Mhm.
Not there yet. So we still got to finish that out then. It has to come reach. It has to come kiss this at some point. Kiss it. And then turn around. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna really turn around, but like maybe a deeper retracement and then come back up. I don't know, because everything down here doesn't really give a sign that it wants to just plummet. But we could definitely do a deeper retracement to probably this block. This block is thicker than this block. So I can see a deeper retracement down to here, this red line area that I got, and see what it does for the NASDAQ. A little bit more bullish movement, and then we'll see, guys. We'll see where Papa Powell's gonna take us. We're just gonna hang out for the ride, and we're gonna do like Fatima did. We're gonna get out quickly and switch positions. Again, good job, Fatima. You did very,
Yeah.
very good on executing that.
So Randy, Thinkorswim has changed to the new contract, and so yeah, there's a humongous gap right now on
Okay. So it is a little bit over 6, so we'll look at it, and the futures are looking very bullish right now. This is the September contract. So without the gap with the September contract. So that's what it's forming.
What can I ask? Well, with it switching the contract, and now there's that humongous. Does Maria know what normally happens when it does switch? I'm sorry, she may have said it, but I was missing it. Did she say what normally happens when it switches contract and it creates such a huge gap?
No, I did not necessarily say. I would trade cautiously because, as we know, sorry, I'm walking around. The NWOG, so like where the 1 week ends and the next week opens, those are magnets for price.
Right.
And so you have to think about how, as we're transferring from the old contract, so the old contract still has those NWOGs in places, right? But the new contracts NWOGs are going to be in different places.
Right.
I have not been trading futures long enough
to know. Okay.
Figure out what to expect. And I've been on honest, because you guys know I focus heavily on the dated contract, not the continuous contract. But I do still look at the continuous contract because take the dated contract, for example, this past one, the June one, we were at the top of the range of like kind of like almost all-time highs, unless you like look to like where it's like spotty trading at the beginning of the contract. So we're at all-time highs. So then I always have to go back and reference the continuous contract to see where like a draw on liquidity is like up above and stuff. So I guess I don't have like a really great answer to that, but I just find that it's an interesting balancing act, and like you're just like dancing between the different charts and like trying to figure out what is, I mean, ultimately, right, with ICT and his concepts and like smart money concepts is what is the draw on liquidity? Where are people's stop losses resting? And the algorithm is hunting those stop losses. So yeah, you just have to kind of like take it all, because like yeah, right now we have that giant gap on the continuous. And it's like, where's the liquidity? I think for myself personally, it's going to take a few days of like recalibrating my mind, because like I'm now so familiar with like what's going on at 42.75, 42.80, 95. Right now we're in the 43.30s and 40s, and it's like now I gotta like take everything that I like was thinking and like find a way to shift it over. And I'll let you know when I have a good answer to that.
I do think that we're all in the same boat of like you just gotta like trade cautiously while the contract adjusts, because it will adjust, right? Because so if you look over to the watch list, right, my top two tickers are the futures and the SPX. And the SPX and the futures normally have a discrepancy, but it's not this goddamn big. Okay.
Well, so the discrepancy always starts out big when the contract switches over.
Right.
And as we get closer to the end of it, you'll see the discrepancy close.
Exactly.
Right.
And I was
Because
just
it
about
was
to say
just about, it was just about closed. If you go back before you started looking at September contract, it was like, a delta of let's say 8 points. And now also it's like boom, back up again. So yeah, it creates some really interesting mind bends.
yeah, you just have to bend your mind. Like if you were trading the ES against SPX, like you definitely have to mind bend yourself to trade it. And then but other than that, and SPY, but the movement's gonna be the same whichever way, like up or down. And I do think this gap is gonna eventually, like, I don't know, I don't want to say like disappear, like it's magically disappear, but I do think trading is gonna like it's gonna work itself out, because we've seen it do it before when we have been here before, ladies. Most of us have. And we just go through the little pains, and it's only for like a couple weeks, and then it's fine. and then we're good again. So I would just say like definitely be careful just trading this week, because there is extra mental brain. It may be that time to take a break. Like I do think the market actually tells us when we should take a break. Do we listen? No.
Nope.
So,
The market literally says like there's no setups, there's not a lot of movement, there's not like, it tells you like take a break.
Yeah. Something that a lot of well-seasoned traders say a lot, which I know is like hard for probably some of us to like truly obey, is day trading doesn't mean trading every day. And that's really hard, because I know, like, for me, for Randy and Andra, and for anybody else who's like this is my career, like this is my only, like I am, I'm throwing in all my eggs in this basket. I am not doing anything else. We want to show up every day and get our pound of flesh and be like, yeah, I got my paycheck.
Right.
And kind of going back to, I think, something Jean mentioned earlier in the comments about like wanting to wait for the A+ setups. It's like, if you can mentally get yourself to the place where you can identify A+ setups and also identify what isn't an A+ setup, and if you can just wait and be patient and just super disciplined and just go in for those A+ setups, you could probably, make your weekly paycheck in one trade instead of trying to force 5 or 10 trades in the week. So
yeah.
And I say all this, I am not good at this, because like I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna get my $200 or $300, like you're not stopping me, and the market's like, oh really? So I don't know.
As I say, the market said, hold my beer.
That's right. Hold my beer, watch this.
Yeah, that's the part. It's just, and I think that's the part that we're working on perfecting. Just being able to see those setups and recognizing when we are seeing those setups, Maria, you have the unicorn and the silver bullet thing kind of working. Are you saying you're not really sure if you, yeah, I think you got it.
Some days,
Yeah.
some days,
Even I'm identifying silver bullets and stuff, and I'm
Mhm.
going, it's not a silver bullet, and I watch it just do what it was supposed to do and wasn't in the trade. So
Yeah,
I just have
yeah.
to execute them. I got to work on executing them. You're at least executing,
Yeah. Yeah, well, but there is something to be said about studying price action and getting really comfortable with, building up that muscle of like, yes, I saw it, and I saw it again, and I saw it again, because then you build that trust in yourself.
Right.
When you go in and you're like, I think I see it right now. And sometimes you win and you're like, I do. But sometimes you were wrong and you lost. And that, builds up that scar tissue of like, oh no, what if I'm wrong again? Right. And then you're just like, oh, I'm scared to take this trade now, So there is something to be said about just studying that price action and avoiding the scar tissue and that hurt and just getting really good at it. And of course, testing it in sim. At very least, take the trade in sim if you think you see it, because you won't be damaged in sim.
Right. Yeah. But okay. So I guess we'll see how it plays out. Like you said, it'll work itself out, Randy, and again, so you've given us the tools we need to figure out our short moves. We need to try to make to kind of hit some of these daily goals, weekly goals, so yeah.
And I was really looking at my account, guys, and saying like what Taburi was saying. It's just easier. It's easier, but not easier. It's easier to make money, but it's not easier to wait for the better moves. Like when you wait, it's easier to make money, but then it's not easy to wait. That's what I'm trying to get at. So like, and that, but I think that's where we're at, just at the discipline level of just waiting for the bigger setups, because we do at this point know which ones are better. And like, then also trusting ourselves to know that we know it, and then scaling on those. And then you hit the goal and you're done. Because I was looking at my count, I was crunching the numbers, and I was like, I could scale. I should be scaling up to at least 8 contracts, depending on some of the trades. Because if I'm basing it off of trading no more than about 20% of the account, right? And you can even go less than that, depending on the size of your account, that's 8 contracts. And that's even staying below the 20%. So it's like, I need to stop being a little wuss. and do what I need to. And I'm not a complete wuss, y'all see.
You're not
I
a
post my
wuss.
trades, y'all see what I'm doing.
But
But overall,
we're seeing you do multiple. You're doing multiple contracts. We've seen you doing.
I have done some multiple contracts, but like once I crunch the number, just like I can literally do 8 contracts a SPY, y'all. I'm just not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And that won't be risking half of the account. That won't be it's just like the moves that we know. Why am I not putting 8 contracts on the line?
Right. I want to say my Friday move, if I did 3 contracts. If I had done 8 of them, I'd have been way closer to my weekly goal.
That's what I'm trying, and that's what I'm getting at. And if you really think of the math on where we're getting in on most of the SPY contracts, you can afford 8.
Yep.
Without feeling like, because when we were trading in the money, we put that same amount of money on the line.
With one contract,
With one contract. So that's what I'm saying here. Like, Randy, what the hell? You ain't gonna play 8, but you played the equal amount on 1.
You're very right. I think there's kind of like a fear that we have after having played like contracts that are like in the money or at the money, and like getting burned fast, because when it moves against you, it goes fast. And so I think we're still like working on that like psychology of like I could, but if I'm wrong,
Right.
but you just have to warm up to it at the rate that you have to,
I can tell you those SPY contracts because I was watching them the day before. Thursday, I was watching them. I had an opportunity to get into those contracts at 75 cents.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's what I could have went and bought my 5 at that
Hey,
time. And I could have got a better strike if I had just bought the 75 cents. But no, I waited to the end of the day and the contract was of $1 and something. So yes, Randy, I feel you, girl. I see it.
That's my point. And it's like we just gotta stop trusting because we see the move. So if we certain things, like I said, we know, especially a few of us in here, like it's definitely time. Like it's time to do more contracts. And like when I was saying that, yeah, I was doing it across multiple accounts, but when I really crunch the numbers, I can even scale to 8 contracts per account. And that's what's like,
yeah,
you know how much money I can get? Exactly.
Right. What if I'd have done 10 on that 75 cents? You know what I'm saying? Contract 10. I could have done 10 on them.
You could have did 10 because
easily.
you were playing in the money at $1,000 any damn way.
Yep. Got it.
Right. And take our $2 move and be done. Like we definitely need to take one out of the book from Tiffany because Tiffany is on it with that SOXL. She didn't went from 100 to 500, y'all. She's focused. You just focus, get that move and get out.
Yes.
Focus. I think that's a key where it's like, Tiffany's found the setup and she knows where to find it. She knows when to find it. She knows how to find it. And she just rinse and repeat, right?
Yep.
And your SPY contract thing, like that's a setup that you know where to find it, when it happens. And we just need to get really honed in instead of trying to trade all the things. You're just like, this is my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And it's the rinse and repeat. I think that's hard because it's focused and it's kind of boring, right? And it's like a discipline and it's more routine than the 9 to 5s we left. Honest to God. And we can't do it.
A lot of the excellent traders out there, they all preach that the goal in your trading is to make it be boring. It needs to not evoke emotion, not a sadness, not a happiness, not anything. Just need to go in, take your paycheck, get out. And you just need to be like, yep, collected my paycheck.
Yeah.
Which I talked to my husband Jordan a lot about it, because anytime I have a loss, like I do share that with him, and when I have a win, I'm like, yay, and I'm on this like emotional roller coaster of like, oh no, yeah, and I'm like, and I tell him, I'm like, the good traders tell me I need to like not be on that, and I was like, and my goal is to get there, but I was like, right now I'm emotionally attached to the market, so but I know like psychologically that's where I'm gonna get to this point where it's just like I show up, get my money in the morning, and then go about my day.
Very true. We're getting there. We're working out. We're making progress, ladies.
We are. It's a whole journey. You don't, right? None of us are gonna like flip the switch overnight and be like, wow, I just learned about trading yesterday and now I'm like wildly successful. Like it's a whole journey, like just a battle uphill, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
Fighting our battles, slaying our dragons.
And our demons, I get it, definitely.
Yes, oh my gosh, right? Because it highlights all of your attributes, the good ones and some of the bad ones, or all the bad ones. Like being impulsive, the gambler in all of us, like we all have some bit of gambler in us, right? And it highlights those attributes, and you have to rein those things in, wrangle them.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's session. I think we went over everything. I will put a short post out or recap the tickers that I think have some of the most potential move going into next week, at least starting out. If those who did want to try and take a trade on Monday, Tuesday, try some stuff and send whatever, you have something to go off of. Other than that, we all know we're waiting on Wednesday. We're all waiting on Wednesday. So just try to hold tight till then. We're here for you. If you need some support, on not trading because I'm gonna really try to wait till Wednesday because I'm not taking these unnecessary burns. And just kind of gathering my data Monday and Tuesday. So you guys trade safe. For the future junkies who like to trade overnight, trade safe. I'm probably jumping there with y'all. Because if this thing keeps going up, I'm definitely gonna jump.
I know, I'm sitting here watching it go up. It's going up.
On that note, I have been learning it's more ICT stuff, but he talks about it. If you think it might go up, and if you're up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, which probably none of us are gonna be up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I am sometimes. I've definitely got
Okay, all right.
time.
Sometimes what can happen is during the Asian session, so as the market's opening, I can't remember what time. I think
Asian or London?
session is what 11 o'clock at night our time zone, is that right?
Oh, yeah,
Or
okay.
9:30, I think at 9:30 our time zone. Anyway, some point this evening. But anyway, oftentimes, not a guarantee, oftentimes the Asian session will be some level of consolidation, and then the London session, I believe it opens up at 2 a.m. in
Yes.
Eastern time zone.
Yes.
It's
London open is 3 to 4 a.m. New York.
okay, 3 to 4.
3 to 4 a.m. New York time.
Might
London
be
open.
2 o'clock right now because of time zone or daylight savings.
Oh, could be.
Yeah. Anyway, but in essence, if you think it's a bullish market, what you might see is London session opens and it swoops down and takes out the lows from Asian session, and that's like a false breakdown,
Judas
right?
swing.
And then their Judas swing, and then it comes up and it trends upwards, and then sometimes, again, assuming it's a bullish day, when New York opens, you'll see another swing down, that Judas swing, and then more continuation upward. So, okay, yeah, Jean dropped some stuff in the chat about the times. No. Oh yeah, there you go.
Just laughing at that.
There you go. So if you're up at 2 a.m., you might watch for that Judas swing down, buy your futures contracts or your futures options contracts at that point, because you might be, if it's a bullish day, getting in on the low there, and then you can really ride it up. So that way, when the Judas swing happens in New York session and might not come and take out London's lows, then you're still always in profit. Anyway, obviously the algorithm has many different models that it follows, so this isn't a guarantee, but this is a phenomena that can happen.
Yep, I love it. Yeah.
I like it. I would see if I tried to do that one time and I didn't catch it right, but it's a trick, but it can be done because I know what she's talking about. So,
Randy, have you been you've been mostly successful in your futures trading, haven't you?
for the most part, but I haven't stuck with it enough. Like sometimes I'll get so wrapped up in like the Adobe or SPY that I won't trade it. So I just have to like literally focus like tonight if I'm gonna take this coming up.
Yeah, because it's already up $6.
Yeah, that's what I know. And this looks so J hookish, and this just looks so everything about it looks like it wants to just stay up. Unfortunately, let me put that Cattywop W back on here from the 30-minute.
Wow, look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, the play is, but yeah, ladies.
So it may at least go up to that high there. Yeah.
Something like this, we're gonna see if it draws out like it's supposed to, or if it does something a little different. And then we'll get like a retracement, and then we'll get like a move. All right, this is what we're expecting into tomorrow, and everything that Maria said. So this is gonna happen at 2 o'clock, and then you can really. All right. So yeah. I think that's it, you guys.